They provoked Earth at the Council. Humanity canceled every treaty overnight. The Council chamber floated in silent orbit around a pale blue star. Its vast ring structure glowed with soft white light, and thousands of ships hovered outside like drifting metal birds. Inside, the chamber stretched wide and high, filled with curved platforms where dozens of alien species gathered. Some were tall and thin with silver skin. Others were short and covered in scales. A few had bodies made of living crystal. Every seat faced the center floor, where a circular platform waited for speakers. Earth's platform was simple compared to many others. It carried no bright banners or grand statues. Only a small blue and green emblem rotated slowly above the railing. 3 humans stood there. Ambassador Daniel Brooks stood at the center. He was in his early 40s, calm and steady, with dark hair and clear gray eyes. His uniform was plain navy blue with a small council badge at the collar. Beside him stood Commander Lucas Gray, broad-shouldered and watchful. Lucas wore the dark uniform of Earth's fleet, his posture straight, his expression quiet. On Daniel's other side stood cultural envoy Olivia Carter. She held a data tablet close to her chest, her eyes moving across the chamber as she studied the mood of the room. The murmur of alien voices filled the air. Translation drones floated above every platform, turning strange sounds into clear speech. Today's session had been called by the Dravari Union, one of the strongest powers in the Council. Their fleets controlled many trade lanes. Their voices often carried weight. The Dravari delegate stepped forward. Its body was tall and thin, covered in dark red plates that shifted softly when it moved. 4 glowing eyes turned toward the chamber. The Council will now address the matter of human contribution, the translation drone said in a smooth tone. Daniel kept his face calm. Lucas folded his hands behind his back. Olivia tapped a quiet note into her tablet. The Dravari delegate continued. For over 100 cycles, humanity has claimed equal status in this council. Yet records show that Earth depends heavily on shared defense fleets. Earth relies on joint trade systems. Earth benefits more than it gives. A low wave of whispers spread across the chamber. Olivia's jaw tightened slightly. She did not speak. Daniel simply listened. Another delegate from the Veloran Pact leaned forward. The Velorans had smooth blue skin and long necks. During the border conflicts 30 cycles ago, the Veloran said, human fleets arrived late. Their support was limited. Lucas felt heat rise in his chest. He remembered those conflicts. Human ships had been outnumbered 5-1. They had still fought. Many had not returned. Daniel placed one hand lightly on the railing, a quiet signal to remain still. The Dravari delegate raised one long arm. It is the position of the Dravari Union that Earth's voting privileges on military matters be reduced. Furthermore, Earth's access to certain high-value trade corridors should be reviewed. The chamber grew louder. Some species nodded in agreement. Others remained silent. Olivia leaned slightly toward Daniel. Her voice was low. "This was planned," she whispered. "They coordinated." Daniel gave a small nod. The Dravari continued. Humanity is young, emotional, unstable in times of stress. The Council must consider whether such a species should hold equal influence. A faint ripple of uneasy laughter echoed from a distant platform. Lucas's hands tightened behind his back. He thought of human colonies on the frontier. He thought of patrol ships that had guarded alien worlds from pirate raids. He thought of rescue missions where human crews had entered toxic atmospheres to save non-human lives. Young, emotional, unstable. Olivia's eyes moved across the chamber. She saw which delegates avoided looking at Earth's platform. She saw which ones watched carefully. This was not only an insult, it was a test. The presiding officer, a tall being of white crystal known as Speaker Thalen, turned toward Earth's platform. "Ambassador Daniel Brooks of Earth, you may respond." The chamber grew quiet. Daniel stepped forward. His boots made a soft sound on the metal floor. He did not rush. He did not raise his voice. "Honored delegates," he began. His tone was calm and steady. "Humanity values this council. For over a century, we have shared our science, our fleets, and our trade routes. We have stood beside you in times of war and peace." He paused, letting the words settle. "It is true that Earth has benefited from cooperation. That is the purpose of alliance. But we have also carried burdens. Our ships patrol outer sectors far from our own worlds. Our engineers maintain navigation systems used by half this chamber. Our people have died defending colonies that were not human." A few delegates shifted uncomfortably. The Veloran delegate lifted its chin. Your losses were minor compared to some. Lucas felt anger flare again, but Daniel raised a hand slightly, keeping control. Loss is not a competition, Daniel replied gently. Each life matters to its people. There was silence again. The Dravari delegates' plates shifted, a sign of impatience. The data suggests imbalance. Earth's emotional reactions in past crises created instability. We seek structural correction. Olivia almost laughed at that. Emotional reactions. She remembered the siege of Arkan Station, when human commanders had held their fire for hours to avoid civilian casualties, while other fleets demanded a full assault. Daniel folded his hands behind his back now, mirroring Lucas's stance. If the Council believes that Earth's presence creates imbalance, he said, then Earth will review its commitments. The words were simple, but they landed heavily. The chamber buzzed with confusion. The Dravari delegate tilted its head. Clarify. We will review every treaty, every joint operation, and every shared system, Daniel said. We will consider whether our participation continues to serve mutual respect. A short burst of laughter came from one of the outer platforms. Is that a threat? A voice called out. Daniel's expression did not change. No, it is a statement. Speaker Thalen's crystal form shimmered. Ambassador Brooks, are you proposing withdrawal? I am proposing reflection, Daniel answered. Nothing more. Lucas knew that tone. It was the tone Earth used before making a hard decision. The Dravari delegate leaned forward. Earth lacks the leverage to disrupt Council stability. Shared systems would function without you. Olivia finally spoke. Her voice was clear and even. The Council is free to test that assumption. Several heads turned toward her. She continued, human navigation algorithms guide 38% of trade convoys in the mid-rim. Human patrol fleets cover 6 frontier corridors where no other species volunteered long-term forces. Human medical research supports joint stations across 11 sectors. She looked directly at the Dravari delegate. We did not publicize these numbers before. We did not need to. The chamber grew quieter than before. Daniel gave her a slight nod of thanks. Speaker Thalen raised both crystal arms. This session was called to discuss procedural adjustments. It is not a venue for escalation. Daniel inclined his head respectfully. Earth does not seek escalation. But inside, Lucas knew something had already shifted. The Veloran delegate spoke again, softer now. Perhaps a review committee would be more appropriate than immediate sanction. The Dravari delegate's plates darkened slightly. The proposal stands. The chamber divided into quiet groups, whispers passing through translation drones. Alliances within alliances began to calculate risks. Daniel stepped back from the center. He had said enough. Lucas leaned close, his voice barely audible. Orders. Transmit the full record to President Ethan Cole, Daniel replied quietly. Market priority. Lucas tapped a small device on his wrist. A secure signal shot from the chamber to Earth's relay network. Olivia looked at Daniel. They expected anger. Yes, he said softly. Anger is easy to dismiss. The session dragged on for another hour. Minor delegates argued about trade percentages and fleet rotations. But the heart of the matter had already been exposed. At last, Speaker Thalen signaled the close of debate for the cycle. The Council will reconvene after internal consultations. The lights dimmed slightly as platforms began to withdraw toward private docking corridors. The Dravari delegate cast one final look at Earth's platform. Consider carefully, Ambassador. Isolation is dangerous. Daniel met its glowing eyes. So is disrespect. The Dravari turned away without replying. As the chamber emptied, Lucas exhaled slowly. They think we are bluffing. Maybe they need to, Olivia said. They walked down the curved exit ramp toward their shuttle bay. Around them, alien delegates spoke in low tones. Some avoided eye contact. Others watched the humans with new curiosity. Inside the shuttle, the doors sealed with a soft hiss. The noise of the chamber faded. Lucas removed his gloves and sat heavily in a seat. I never thought I would hear them call us unstable. Olivia strapped into her chair. They are afraid. Afraid? Lucas asked. Yes, she said, afraid that we do not react the way they expect. Daniel took the pilot's seat. Through the front window, the star burned bright against the dark. Earth has always tried to prove we belong, he said quietly. Maybe that was the mistake. The shuttle lifted smoothly from the docking bay and joined the stream of departing ships. Far below, the council chamber continued to glow, unaware of how close it stood to a turning point. On Earth, in a secure room beneath the presidential complex, President Ethan Cole watched the recorded session in silence. Beside him stood Defense Secretary Hannah Price and Fleet Admiral Jack Turner. When the Dravari delegate finished its speech on the screen, Hannah folded her arms. They miscalculated. Jack's eyes were hard. They forgot who built half their infrastructure. Ethan leaned back in his chair. He was not an angry man, but there was a steady resolve in his voice when he spoke. "Prepare a full treaty review," he said. "Every agreement, every clause." Hannah nodded once. Jack gave a short, satisfied breath. About time. Back in orbit, Daniel guided the shuttle toward the human embassy station. He felt no triumph, only clarity. They had been patient for a century. They had compromised, assisted, and defended. They had asked for little in return but respect. Today, that respect had been questioned in public. Lucas looked out at the endless spread of stars. "Do you think they will apologize?" Daniel considered that. "No," he said at last. "I think they will laugh." Olivia gave a small smile that held no humor. "Then they will learn." The shuttle entered the docking tunnel of the embassy station. Metal doors closed behind them with a heavy final sound. In the quiet that followed, humanity's next move began to take shape. The moment the shuttle docked at the human embassy station, Ambassador Daniel Brooks felt a heavy sense of responsibility settle over him. The chamber had been a storm of words, but what mattered now was action. Lucas Gray moved quickly, checking the security systems and ensuring the shuttle's data logs were secure. Olivia Carter floated behind, tapping furiously on her tablet, reviewing every detail from the council session. Back on Earth, President Ethan Cole paced in the Oval Command Room. His hands clasped behind his back, and his expression was firm. Beside him, Defense Secretary Hannah Price and Fleet Admiral Jack Turner listened as Daniel's secure transmission began to play the recorded session. Every insult, every dismissive comment, every laugh from the council members showed clearly. "They think we are weak," Jack said, his voice low. He had been in command of human fleets for decades. "They think we will beg to stay in their games." Ethan stopped pacing and looked out the window at the blue planet below. "They misjudge us. Humanity has endured more than any one of these species can imagine. Now is the time to show that our patience has limits." Hannah tapped her finger on a holographic display, bringing up dozens of treaties, agreements, and joint operations from the last 100 cycles. "If we cancel every treaty, some of their systems will collapse. Our fleets, our engineers, our navigational algorithms, they touch more than half the council's sectors." Daniel's voice came from the secure line. "It is not just about technology or fleets. It is about dignity. If they want to see Earth humbled, they will see the opposite." Ethan nodded slowly. "Then it is decided. We cancel every treaty, every joint operation. We freeze access to our systems. Let them understand what their arrogance costs them." In the control room, screens lit up with maps of trade lanes, fleet positions, and colony stations. Jack turned to Lucas. "Begin recalling all human ships from joint missions. Alert frontier stations. Activate security grids in the sectors previously shared." Lucas moved quickly, his fingers flying over a touch panel. Orders were transmitted instantly across thousands of ships. Human patrols, research vessels, and trade escorts began leaving Council-assigned sectors and heading back toward human-controlled space. The Council's outer territories were suddenly without their usual guidance. Olivia pulled up a holographic chart showing trade patterns across the mid-rim sectors. "They rely on our navigation systems. Half their convoys will be lost without our updates. This will cause confusion, maybe even conflict among their fleets." Daniel looked at the display. "Good, let them feel what we have endured, carefully without causing unnecessary destruction. We are not barbarians, we are humans, and humans are precise." Within hours, every human treaty office, embassy, and liaison station had issued official notices. Human language, clear and firm, broadcast across council networks. Effective immediately, the treaties and agreements between Earth and all council member species are suspended pending review. Access to human systems is restricted. Cooperation will resume only under mutual respect and equality. On distant planets, council species received the messages with shock. Ships halted mid-transit. Trade convoys paused in empty space lanes. and some minor skirmishes broke out as factions argued over responsibility for sectors humans had previously overseen. In the frontier systems, human patrol ships returned with precision, securing vulnerable stations and installing defensive grids that had been under wraps for years. The fleets had grown stronger in silence, and now their presence reminded the galaxy that humanity was not dependent but powerful. Back in the Oval Command Room, Ethan watched the incoming reports. "How long before they notice the gaps in their networks?" he asked. Hannah pointed to a sector map. "Some convoys are already reporting lost contact. Without our algorithms, their shipments of essential minerals and energy modules are delayed. Sectors near the rim are beginning to panic. It will take days for them to stabilize if they can." Jack leaned forward, his elbows resting on the table. "And our fleets, we are not trying to start a war, but they may try to test us." Ethan's voice was firm. "Let them test. They will learn quickly that humans are not to be underestimated." On Earth, the public was unaware of the full scale of the actions. The government chose to release a measured statement. News channels broadcast the president's words. "Humanity values cooperation and peace. We have always acted in good faith. Today, we have reminded the galaxy that respect is mutual and dignity is not negotiable." Millions of humans watched, some proud, some anxious, but most felt the weight of the responsibility their leaders had taken on. Humanity had drawn a line, and it was unshakable. On the council, the news spread rapidly. The Dravari delegates' plates darkened with worry. "They canceled everything," it said in disbelief. "We relied on them too much." The Veloran delegates spoke softly. "We underestimated them. Their fleets, their systems, their influence, much larger than we believed." Smaller species began scrambling. Some attempted to fill the gaps left by humans, only to realize their systems were not compatible with human protocols. Shipments of critical resources began to pile up at ports, while colonies went without essential supplies. Frustration and tension rose across sectors that had depended on Earth's technology and organization. In the midst of the chaos, human fleets remained calm. Lucas monitored every ship and station, ensuring no panic escalated into violence. His crews followed strict instructions: defend when necessary, assist allies if requested, but never strike first. Humans were demonstrating strength without aggression. Olivia worked with communications teams to release historical data on human contributions to the Council. Digital archives showed past missions where human engineers had repaired critical Council stations. Human fleets had defended colonies under attack, and human medical teams had treated thousands of non-human lives during pandemics. Many alien species had never realized how much they depended on humanity. The public release caused debates and arguments in council chambers and forums across the galaxy. Pride, shame, and worry mixed in complex patterns. Back on Earth, Ethan, Hannah, and Jack watched the reports carefully. "They are realizing what we've done," Ethan said, "but they will still try to negotiate. We must be ready for that." Hannah nodded. "Yes, and when they come, we will not beg. We will offer equality, not submission." Daniel, still orbiting on the embassy station, reviewed incoming signals. Some delegates sent formal requests for clarification, others attempted to intimidate. He carefully logged every message. His calm presence was a counterbalance to the panic growing in the council sectors. Lucas looked out the observation window at the stars. "This is more than a message, it's a warning," Olivia added, "and a lesson. They wanted to humiliate us. Instead, we reminded them that humanity cannot be treated as weak." Over the next 24 hours, Council species scrambled to adapt. Convoys rerouted, some made mistakes, leading to minor collisions and delays. Frontier colonies reported shortages. Small-scale conflicts broke out in areas humans had previously stabilized. Panic spread in some high-ranking council offices, though most tried to maintain appearances. In the midst of all this, Ethan called an emergency meeting with his cabinet. The room was tense but focused. "Our goal is not to dominate," he said. "Our goal is respect. We want them to understand that cooperation must be mutual. We do not seek revenge, only recognition." Jack interjected. "We need to make sure that our defensive grids and patrols are fully operational. Some may test us, hoping for a mistake." Hannah added, "We should also make clear to our allies that Earth remains committed to protecting our people and those who respect human sovereignty. This is not an act of abandonment, only a recalibration." The leaders worked through the night, analyzing data from every fleet, station, and diplomatic channel. Messages from human colonies confirmed that systems were secure, trade convoys were rerouted, and no civilian population had been left vulnerable. On the embassy station, Daniel, Lucas, and Olivia prepared for the next step. Their task was not only to monitor the galaxy, but also to anticipate council reactions. They understood that pride, fear, and arrogance were powerful motivators in politics, and humanity now held the upper hand. Olivia spoke quietly to Daniel. "They thought one insult could push us into chaos. Instead, they are the ones scrambling." Daniel nodded. "Patience has been humanity's strength. Now it will be their challenge." Lucas leaned back in his chair. "And if they push too far," Daniel met his eyes, "then they will see the full measure of human resolve, but for now, let them panic quietly. Let them feel the cost of their arrogance without bloodshed." Across the galaxy, the first cracks in council unity appeared. Small factions began negotiating among themselves, some trying to fill the void left by human systems. Disagreements arose, trade routes conflicted, and patrol schedules collided. All of this happened without a single human ship attacking. Back on Earth, Ethan addressed the council indirectly via a secure broadcast. "We are humans. We act with principle. We do not act from fear or anger. We expect the same from those who share the galaxy with us. Respect is not optional. Dignity is not negotiable." His words spread across systems like a quiet shockwave. Fear, surprise, and reflection rippled through council species. Even the Dravari Union, proud and arrogant, had to acknowledge that their plan had backfired. In the following days, human fleets completed their withdrawal from joint operations. Defensive grids were strengthened in critical sectors. Trade lanes under human control were secured. No civilian life was endangered. Humanity had taken control of its destiny without violence, and the galaxy had taken notice. Lucas, watching fleet movements on a large holo map, whispered, "They underestimated us. Badly." Olivia smiled faintly. "They thought patience meant weakness. Now patience is power." Daniel turned to them both. "We will continue to monitor, report, and prepare. The Council has learned a lesson, but humanity's real work is only beginning. They must respect us, not fear us, if peace is to survive." In that moment, humanity's position shifted from a quiet member of the Council to a central force. They had not lashed out. They had not threatened with fleets or fire. They had acted decisively, strategically, and with measured strength. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time in a century, it had to reckon with the fact that Earth could no longer be dismissed or underestimated. The night stretched on. On Earth, human leaders worked tirelessly. In orbit, Daniel, Lucas, and Olivia prepared for whatever came next. Humanity had made its statement, and the cost of disrespect was now clear. The balance of power had subtly shifted, and the world waited to see which council species would adjust first. As the first light of dawn touched Earth, Ethan looked out at the horizon. The blue planet seemed calm, serene, but beneath the surface, a storm of consequence was already spreading across the galaxy. And humanity, quiet yet resolute, was ready. The galaxy had never seen such sudden change. In just days, humanity had withdrawn from every treaty and operation it had ever joined. The ripple of this action spread across systems, trading routes, and colonies that had long depended on human guidance. What had started as an insult in the council chamber now became a full test of the council's stability and of humanity's power. Far from Earth, the Dravari Union convened in an emergency session. The delegates paced and argued. "We underestimated Earth," one said. "Our convoys are stopped. Patrols are gone. Frontier colonies report shortages and confusion." Another Dravari shook its long, armored head. "We assumed they would panic, beg to stay in our council. Instead, they act with precision and calm. They control the flow of information and logistics without firing a single weapon." The Veloran Pact faced similar troubles. Trade lanes faltered, colonies ran low on essential supplies, and local leaders quarreled over how to handle the sudden void left by humans. Panic threatened to disrupt months of careful planning, yet human fleets remained disciplined, returning to Earth-controlled sectors without aggression. In orbit, Ambassador Daniel Brooks reviewed the incoming reports on the human embassy station. He had access to every signal, every shipment log, every fleet movement in sectors humans had previously overseen. Lucas Gray monitored patrols and defense grids, while Olivia Carter compiled records of human contributions and broadcasted the information quietly to select council species. The goal was not revenge, but to make the galaxy understand the full value of humanity's presence. Daniel spoke quietly. They do not yet realize how much they relied on us. In a week, they will be forced to negotiate or collapse. Lucas glanced at him. And what if they try to strike first? Some will test our patience. Daniel shook his head slowly. Humans do not strike blindly. We act to defend, not provoke. Their confusion is enough for now. They will see that restraint can be stronger than aggression. Back on Earth, President Ethan Cole convened a meeting with Defense Secretary Hannah Price and Fleet Admiral Jack Turner. The holo displays showed the growing disarray among council species. Convoys were stranded, colonies reported shortages, and council factions argued over responsibility. They are trying to patch the systems themselves, Ethan said. But without us, most of their operations fail. They can patch, but they cannot replace our presence. Jack nodded, pointing at a holographic map. We are not just observing. Our fleets cover frontier sectors, patrol high-risk areas, and protect human colonies. Any attempt to exploit the gaps will fail. They will see that human power is not only strength in war, but control in organization. Hannah leaned forward. We must also prepare for the first diplomatic approaches. Some species will try to negotiate. They must learn that equality is required, not submission. In the Outer Rim, human patrol ships quietly monitored council convoys attempting to navigate without human guidance. Some shipments were delayed for days. Minor collisions occurred. Small skirmishes erupted as factions misinterpreted orders. Yet human ships did not engage offensively. They acted as observers, ready to intervene only to prevent loss of life. Lucas watched a live feed from a patrol near the rim. "Look at this," he said, pointing. "Their fleets are falling into confusion. They cannot coordinate their patrols. They are arguing over territory humans once stabilized." Olivia's tablet displayed the same feed. They do not understand what they lost. They think they can manage. In truth, they are barely holding together. Daniel recorded the session and uploaded it to secure channels. "All evidence must be kept," he said. "Future negotiations will rely on proof, not threats." Meanwhile, news of Earth's actions spread across council-controlled networks. Citizens of other species began questioning their governments. How had humans quietly held so much influence? Why had the council taken their cooperation for granted? Many were impressed. Some were frightened. In the small council chambers of minor species, whispers of admiration and fear circulated. Back on Earth, Ethan addressed his cabinet. "This is not about showing dominance. It is about setting the record straight. We have not acted from anger. We acted to remind the galaxy that humanity deserves respect. Any negotiations must now be approached with humility." Jack looked at him. "They will try to intimidate. Some will deploy fleets near our sectors to test us. We must be ready." Ethan nodded. "And we are. Our fleets are in position. Our colonies are protected. Our people are safe. Any attempt at aggression will be met with measured force." As the days passed, the council began to feel the consequences. The Dravari Union faced shortages in mid-rim sectors. The Veloran Pact struggled to stabilize patrol corridors. Even smaller species noticed gaps in essential services, from communication relays to medical support. Human withdrawal revealed the true cost of centuries of underappreciated contributions. Daniel monitored incoming diplomatic requests. The first formal message came from the Velorans. They requested a meeting to discuss partial restoration of some treaty obligations. The tone was cautious, even respectful. Lucas raised an eyebrow. "They are walking on eggshells." Finally, Olivia smiled faintly. "They only realize now that our patience is power. We waited long enough." Back on Earth, Ethan prepared a public address. Millions of humans watched from across the globe. His voice was steady, firm, and calm. "Humanity has always sought peace. We have acted in cooperation and good faith. Today, we remind the galaxy that dignity is earned and mutual respect is required. Cooperation must be voluntary, not assumed. This is not the end of our alliances, but the beginning of a new understanding." On distant council worlds, these words caused deep reflection. Council members began reviewing the historical record of human contributions. Some admitted, quietly, that human sacrifices had been ignored. Others argued over how to approach negotiations without appearing weak. Tension grew in every council chamber. Lucas monitored patrols near frontier colonies. "Some species are starting to probe our sectors," he said, "testing whether we will react." Daniel shook his head. "Let them test. Any mistake on their part will only reinforce the point. We act with patience, but we are prepared." Olivia displayed maps of trade and navigation networks. "Without human algorithms, half the council convoys are delayed. This will continue until they ask for cooperation on our terms." Across the galaxy, human defensive grids were quietly activated. Colonies and stations previously shared with council species were fortified with automated systems. Sensors, energy shields, and fleet response protocols ensured that no human territory could be threatened while the council scrambled to fill the void. Jack checked fleet positions. "We have enough ships to protect every critical sector. No one can push us into conflict." Hannah added, "And our presence will be felt without firing a single shot. They will see the full value of humanity's work and the consequences of underestimating us." On the human embassy station, Daniel, Lucas, and Olivia reviewed the incoming council communications. Some requested clarification, others attempted to intimidate, all were logged and analyzed. Humanity now held the upper hand in the negotiation without aggression. Lucas leaned back in his chair. "It's almost funny, they thought we would beg. Instead, we are making them beg quietly by showing what they lost." Olivia nodded. "Humans have been underestimated for centuries. Our patience was their mistake." Daniel looked out at the stars. "In the end, it's not just about treaties, it's about respect. They will have to come to terms with that if they want any cooperation at all." As the council scrambled, human fleets completed their repositioning. Frontier colonies reported smooth transitions, secure systems, and efficient defensive grids. No lives were lost, no attacks occurred. Humanity had demonstrated strength through precision, discipline, and strategic patience. In the coming days, the Council would face difficult choices. Continue without humans and risk instability, or approach with humility to restore cooperation. Either way, the balance of power had shifted. The galaxy had learned a vital lesson. Humanity was neither weak nor submissive. It was decisive, patient, and prepared. Lucas looked at Daniel. "Do you think they understand now?" Daniel shook his head. "Some do, some never will, but the point is clear. Humans are not to be dismissed." Olivia tapped her tablet. "And we've only begun. Patience, preparation, and calm observation, this is our greatest weapon." Back on Earth, Ethan, Jack, and Hannah continued to monitor events across the galaxy. Humanity's actions had caused shockwaves. Miscalculations, shortages, and delays spread among council species. Some species realized the full weight of centuries of human contribution only now. Daniel recorded the latest fleet and trade data. Lucas ensured patrols were operational. Olivia prepared reports to send selectively to council species in need of clarity. The message was consistent. Humans act with principle, patience, and readiness. Disrespect carries consequences. And so, as the galaxy adjusted to this new reality, humanity stood at the center. Not through force, but through careful strategy, measured action, and unwavering principle. The insult in the council chamber had sparked a series of events that revealed the true power of humanity. The lesson was clear. Patience is power, dignity is vital, and humanity cannot be underestimated. The night stretched over Earth, calm and quiet, but the galaxy beyond was unsettled. Human fleets moved, human patrols observed, and human leaders prepared for whatever came next. The first test was over, but the consequences had only just begun. Humanity had made its statement, and now the galaxy would feel it. The galaxy was slowly waking up to a new reality. Human withdrawal from every council treaty had shaken the foundations of interstellar cooperation. Trade routes faltered, patrol sectors went unmonitored, and colonies struggled to manage on their own. But humanity remained calm, observing and waiting, prepared for whatever came next. On Earth, President Ethan Cole convened another meeting in the command room. Defense Secretary Hannah Price and Fleet Admiral Jack Turner were present, as always. Daniel Brooks, still in orbit at the embassy station, joined through a secure video feed. Lucas Gray watched over fleet movements from the orbital command deck. Olivia Carter monitored council communications, filtering messages from those who now approached cautiously. Ethan began the meeting. The council has begun to understand the consequences of their arrogance. Some factions are asking for private negotiations. Others are scrambling to fill gaps we left. The galaxy is unstable but not chaotic. This is our moment to reset relations on our terms. Jack nodded. We've demonstrated strength without attacking. Any approach from them will now be met as equals. If they try intimidation again, they will fail. Hannah added, we must make clear that cooperation requires respect and equality, nothing less. They cannot assume we will return to old treaties without change. Daniel's image flickered on the main display. Already, some delegates are requesting private meetings. They are cautious, careful, almost timid. They understand our withdrawal is not a bluff. Lucas leaned forward. Do you think they will come with genuine respect or just try to save face? Daniel's gray eyes were steady. A mixture. Some will approach sincerely. Others will try to negotiate quickly to avoid blame. It is our job to guide them to set the tone. Equality first, cooperation second. In orbit, human fleets quietly maintained defensive positions. No ships attacked, but sensors and grids ensured that any attempt to exploit the human withdrawal would fail. Colonies and stations remained fully secure. The demonstration of power was subtle, precise, and effective. On a mid-rim council world, a delegation composed of Dravari, Veloran, and smaller species approached cautiously. The message was simple. Request a private summit with President Ethan Cole to discuss the situation. The tone was humble, even respectful. The previous arrogance of the council had vanished, replaced with awareness of human capability. Back on Earth, Ethan reviewed the request. They are coming to negotiate. We will not beg. We will offer terms that reflect mutual respect. Jack smiled faintly. Finally. They understand that strength is not just about fleets and weapons, but precision and patience. Hannah added, we must prepare carefully. Our demands must be clear, fair, and unyielding. Daniel's voice came through. I will attend the summit as Earth's ambassador. Lucas will oversee security. Olivia will provide historical records and support communication. We make this clear. Equality is the foundation of any new agreement. The human delegation arrived at the neutral summit planet in secure transports. The planet was small, uninhabited, and heavily shielded to prevent interference. Alien delegates waited in the council chambers, their expressions cautious, some nervous, others attempting calm authority. Daniel stepped forward first, calm and measured. Beside him were Lucas, Olivia, and several human aides. Ethan remained on Earth, directing operations remotely. The alien delegation looked at the humans, weighing their words and demeanor. Humanity had arrived prepared, confident, and unthreatening in presence, but firm in posture. We requested this meeting, the Dravari representative began, to clarify Earth's position and find a path forward. Daniel inclined his head. Your leaders insulted humanity in public. We withdrew from all treaties to show that respect is not optional. We are here to establish conditions under which cooperation may resume. The Veloran delegate spoke, tone quieter now. We misjudged your patience. We assumed anger, but instead you acted with measured precision. This has forced the council to reflect. Olivia added, we have recorded every statement, every act of negligence, every insult. This summit is an opportunity to reset expectations. Future cooperation must be based on equality, not assumption. The smaller species representative shifted nervously. Our systems have depended on human algorithms and patrols. Your absence caused confusion. We did not realize the scale of your contributions. Lucas stood quietly, observing. He did not speak. The humans were here to listen as well as assert, showing the council that humanity was fair but not weak. Daniel continued. We will not return to old agreements that ignored our contributions. New treaties must include equal responsibilities, transparent agreements, and acknowledgement of humanity's role in stabilizing the galaxy. The council delegates whispered among themselves. For the first time, human demands were not laughed at, dismissed, or ignored. There was silence, respect, and careful consideration. And what if some species refuse? Asked the Dravari. We cannot all agree. Daniel's expression remained calm. Then humanity will continue to act independently. Our fleets, our systems, and our colonies will operate according to Earth's priorities. Cooperation is voluntary. Disrespect carries consequences. A tense pause filled the chamber. It was a clear warning without threat. The humans had demonstrated that action could be taken with precision and principle, and the council had seen the results. Olivia displayed historical records of human contributions to council efforts, including patrol reports, rescue missions, navigation systems, and medical aid. "This is not a record of pride," she said. "It is a record of facts. Humanity has been undervalued. This summit is a chance to correct that." Slowly, discussions began. Delegates from different species spoke quietly, negotiating amongst themselves before returning to the humans with proposals. Each time, Daniel responded with measured questions, ensuring every agreement included parity, transparency, and acknowledgement of human contributions. Lucas oversaw the perimeter security, ready to respond to any breach or attempt at intimidation. Human fleets remained in orbit of key sectors, demonstrating capability without aggression. The subtle show of strength reassured the delegates that humanity's terms were serious. Hours passed. Finally, a tentative framework began to emerge. New treaties were drafted that included equal distribution of responsibilities, shared technology access with proper acknowledgement, and clear communication protocols. Humanity's presence would remain essential, but always respected. Ethan watched remotely as the summit progressed. "This is exactly what we needed," he said. "Cooperation based on mutual respect, not assumption. We are secure, our contributions recognized, and the Council finally understands humanity's value." Jack nodded. "It's remarkable." They went from dismissive arrogance to careful negotiation in a few days, all without human aggression. Hannah added, "This will set a precedent. Any future Council decisions will now consider humanity a central, respected player, not a secondary voice." As the summit concluded, the final agreements were transmitted securely to Earth. Humanity had not only protected its dignity, but had reshaped interstellar diplomacy. The Council had learned the cost of underestimating humans and the importance of respect. Back on Earth, Daniel, Lucas, and Olivia returned home. Fleets were redeployed to frontier sectors, patrols resumed under the new treaties, and communication lines were fully restored. The galaxy was stabilizing, but now on terms that recognized humanity's worth. Olivia spoke to Daniel quietly as they watched the sunset from Earth's orbital station. "We didn't have to fight, yet they understand. That is our greatest strength." Daniel nodded. "Humans have always acted with principle. Patience, preparation, and precision, these are more powerful than anger. Today, the galaxy learned that lesson." Lucas added, "And they will not forget it. The Council will think twice before underestimating humanity again." Ethan addressed the people of Earth in a live broadcast. His voice was calm and firm. "Humanity has always sought peace, cooperation, and fairness. Today, we have reminded the galaxy that dignity is not optional. Respect is the foundation of all alliances. From this day forward, humans will participate as equals, and our contributions will be acknowledged. We have acted with patience, principle, and clarity. Let this be the example for all species. Strength is measured not by rage, but by resolve." Millions of humans watched, proud but also aware of the responsibility that came with being a respected power. Humanity had proven that it could act decisively, strategically, and morally. The galaxy had learned an important lesson: do not underestimate humans. In the council chambers, the delegates reflected on their experience. Pride, fear, and respect mingled. Some species quietly revised internal plans, ensuring that future dealings with humanity would honor the new agreements. Arrogance and dismissal were no longer options. Back in orbit, Daniel, Lucas, and Olivia prepared for their next assignments. Humanity had regained its place not through violence, but through patience, strategy, and principle. The galaxy would remember the lesson, and humanity would remain vigilant, ensuring that respect and equality would continue to guide interstellar cooperation. As night fell over Earth, the blue planet appeared serene from orbit. But beneath its calm surface, humanity had reshaped the galaxy, proving that patience, principle, and quiet strength could achieve what anger and threats never could. The Council had learned that humans would not be dismissed, and from this point forward, every species would deal with humanity on equal terms. And so, humanity moved forward, strong, patient, respected, and ready for whatever the galaxy might demand next. The insult at the Council had become a turning point, not a moment of weakness. Humans had shown the galaxy that dignity, principle, and precise action were more powerful than any weapon. The new order had begun, and Earth stood at its center.